Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today we are doing all the books I read in January. I'm just gonna let you guys know in advance. If you're unfamiliar with the author Sarah J. Maas, she's coming out with a new book on the 30th, which as I'm filming is tomorrow. Just know that all the books I read for this month except for one are just Sarah J. Maas books in prep for this new book coming out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's get into it. Alright, so the first book I read, Throne of Glass. If you guys didn't watch the books I read in November and December, I read Assassin's Blade first. It's a prequel. I read it as a prequel. So Throne of Glass is next. I gave this book 4 stars. This was so good. And it's so interesting because I didn't really understand what the series was gonna be about going into it. Like I knew it was gonna be about this Selena Sardathian and she's an assassin, but that's kind of it. I wasn't quite sure what this whole series was gonna be about. So in the last book, slight spoilers, she ends up in a slave camp, right? That's how this book starts, okay? She is enslaved in Endovir. And she's called to the kingdom, and she is called to compete because the king needs an assassin. There's basically these 23 killers, thieves, etc., and they're all competing to be the king's private assassin. And basically, if you win this competition, you have freedom in the sense of you're not enslaved to a slave camp, you just work under the king. Anyways, she meets 2 of the love interests in the series in this book. I thought it was really good. Like I said, it kind of gave Hunger Games-y vibes, like she has to survive fights against these people, slight spoiler. And the ending of it, like, kind of dips into the whole magic aspect of the rest of the book. So going in blind, I was like, so this book was really good. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Throne of Glass popped off. Next book I read was the second one. Just assume this is gonna be a Throne of Glass video, okay? The next book I read was Crown of Midnight. Spoiler, of course, if you haven't read the first book, but this is after she wins the competition and is the king's assassin. But of course she's not like loyal to the king. Like she's doing sneaky things that are helping people, but not what the king wants because she's a good person as far as assassins go. So this book dips more into the rebellion that is going around Adarlan. And at the end, of course, we dip even more into the magic aspect and a big secret that has been being kept. I think I also gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I'll put it up on the screen, but like this was so good. Does she write a bad book? I guess we'll see because I read all of them but Akotar this month. So yeah, love this sequel. All right, so here's the one non-Sarah J. Maas book that I warned you about. Animal Farm. I tried to like diversify myself and not only read Sarah J. Maas, which ended up not happening just because of how lengthy some of these books get, but I wanted to throw in a little random, you know, single standalone book in between, which I did once. Animal Farm. So Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's a classic if you're unfamiliar. Basically it touches on themes of communism. A big quote from this book that kind of explains it best is, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And of course that's a metaphor speaking of animals in this book, but of course that goes on in daily lives across the world. Everyone's equal, except some people think they're more equal than others. This book is about a farm who ends up overtaking their human. They're like, we're gonna run this place, you know, you don't treat us fairly, we're gonna take over. Right, so everything's great, everyone's working together until some people decided, I'm smarter than you, so I think you should listen to me. And then the whole plot line unravels. At some point, you can't even differentiate the humans from these animals who think they're better than everyone else, right? So in the end, they became what they said they were fighting against. So it's a wonderful metaphor, and I think it was really well written, and it's only like 100 pages, so it's a really quick read. So I think it's a great read. I would recommend it. I gave it 3 stars. I thought the message was wonderful, and I thought it was a good book. So I would absolutely recommend reading this, especially thinking about the time that this was written, as well as the times that we are starting to get in. I think that more people need to read this. So yeah, Animal Farm, 3 out of 5 stars. All right, back to Sarah J. Maas. Hope you guys enjoyed our little break. We have Heir, 5 stars, baby. Woo! I love this book. I don't want to spoil too much, right? I understand it's hard to explain about sequels in a series without talking about what the sequels are about that wouldn't spoil the first book. So I'll just say, this book has Selena Sardathian, of course, as well as, you've probably heard of her if you've heard about the series, Aelin Galathynius. Won't go too deep in that. But basically, after the end of the last book, once again, spoilers for the series, but not spoilers for this book, Selena has to go on an adventure to this different land in a way to save herself, but as well to find more truth about her and her past. So anyway, we meet the third romance interest of this series. And if you couldn't tell, I'm obsessed with the third romance of the series. He's my favorite. The one who appears in this, artwork. Love that man. Anyway, the ending of this breaks my heart. Breaks my heart into 1,000 pieces. If you know, you know, but like 5 stars. Loved it. All right, next book, of course, Throne of Glass series is Queen of Shadows. So we're officially on the 4th book of the series. This is about when she returns from, you know, that place I told you she was going in Heir Fire. And this is when she returns back to the kingdom that she was the assassin at to take down this king. I give this 5 out of 5 stars too. Holy cow. This book is just so good, and there's more characters that are introduced in it. So not only is it the lovers that I've mentioned, the 3 men and her perspective, this also brings in a new character's perspective, and I love this new character. She's awesome. I love this book. This book was so good. This book is where we get more into the actual themes, I would say, of the series. It's just so amazing going into this blind. But yeah, this book gets more into the, hey, this isn't only about a rebellion, like this is a lot deeper. So 5 out of 5 stars. Could not put this down. As you can tell, they slowly get thicker. I think every book is about 100 pages more than the last. If you're unfamiliar, I'm thinking about doing a whole Sarah J. Maas video, like Sarah J. Maas for dummies or Sarah J. Maas for beginners. But tandem read of these two, right? So this is Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. They're both about 700 pages while I'm here. So if you're unfamiliar, Sarah J. Maas released this book, and then a year later, she released this book. The thing is, these 2 books are going on at the exact same time, just different characters' perspectives across the continent. So you can totally read them individually if you so chose. So let's just do individually. Empire of Storms, I gave 5 out of 5 stars. This book is insane. This book moves more into the war aspect. So not only is it about a Darlin anymore, like this is about, we need to save everyone from this main bad guy. Like we thought it was somebody else in the last books, but we realized, hey, there's something a little deeper, a little more sinister going on. So that's what this book is about. We're just finding our loyalties, right? That's what the main premise of this book is, right? This is war prep. We are trying to figure out who's working with us and who's working against us. The ending of this book is one of the saddest things I've ever read. I don't know why we needed to break my heart like that, but we did. Tower of Dawn, I give 4 out of 5 stars. This book gets a lot of hate. A lot of people say this is their least favorite Sarah J. Maas book, if not their least favorite Throne of Glass book. I thought it was quite good. It's about Kaol, who's, you know, one of the lovers I mentioned, one of the 3 Selena Stardathian lovers, and he is, you know, across the continent, like I said, looking for allies, just like what was going on in Empire of Storm. But this is more about him and him focused, which a lot of people don't like, and I get it. I'm not a really big fan of him either, but I thought this book was just good. It was good, and I thought that at different parts it was very page turning, and like I said, it provides a lot more information because the ending of this book kind of leaves you with a, well, how is that possible? And this sort of is like, well, it's possible because at different parts. And so yeah, this is just kind of like a, honestly, like a cute break. After this, I would say like it's a lot more chill. As somebody who, like I said, wasn't really into this character Kaol, like I still thought this was great. It was wonderfully done. And it's always fun to meet new characters and whatnot. So yeah, 5 stars, 4 stars, tandem read. On to the last book of the series. This is the longest book I've actually ever read. It's like 960 pages. I don't know why we wouldn't have just made it 1,000, but that's okay. Kingdom of Ash. This book is mainly the final battle. The beginning is explaining the end of Empire of Storms and how she escapes the predicament she's in. And then it's once again just battle prep and then the war. This book was heart-shattering. I gave it 5 stars. I thought this was so sad. I don't know why we needed to break my heart so much. The ending, I do have to discuss, you know, without very many spoilers. I feel like it ends in a way where the series, you know, like good ending, like the series is done. But I also like kind of feel like it ended in a way like there could be more. It was so good. It's so lengthy, and I feel like some parts could have been cut out, but like, I'll get over it. It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is boring me because these parts aren't cut out, but so good. And I'm happy that a lot of people got their happily ever afters. All right, on to the last book I read for the month. So today, like I mentioned earlier, is the 29th of January. The new Crescent City, the 3rd one, comes out tomorrow, the 30th. I am currently halfway through the 2nd Crescent City book. I had it my mission when I started Assassin's Blade in December. I was like, hey, I have a month, you know, that seems like ample enough time to finish the series before Crescent City, but I'm not gonna rush through it, right? I don't wanna be in a rush and not enjoy the books. Like if I finish all of the books before the 30th, great. If I don't, that's okay, because I pre-ordered the new Crescent City on my Kindle anyway. With all that being said, the next book I read is Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. I definitely pre-ordered the third one on my Kindle because I'm gonna wait till this version comes out. All right, so Crescent City, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Let's talk about this for a second, or a long time, we'll see. This book, in comparison to the ACOTAR series as well as the TOG series, is an urban fantasy. So ACOTAR, TOG, they don't have running water, they don't have electricity, they still use bows and swords and whatnot. This book, we have cell phones, we live in sky rises, etc. Modern. That doesn't dock anything, I'm just explaining, because that is kind of a change when they're like, hey, I'm pulling out my cell phone. I'm like, you have a cell phone? Imagine how many problems could have disappeared in both of these other series if they had cell phones. But yeah. Urban fantasy, so it's, you know, modern fantasy. A lot of people compare this to Zootopia. Do what you will with that information. All right, so this book is about our main character, Bryce Quinlan. She's half fae, half human, and her closest friends one night get murdered. This was a murder mystery. It's kind of crazy, but we are trying to figure out why they were murdered and who they were murdered by. And then during the whole investigation process, we meet the main male love interest of this book. I like to not say the name of the male love interest, so when it happens, you guys are shocked when you're reading it yourself. So basically, this book is trying to figure out who killed her best friends and why. Like, what did her best friends have? What knowledge? What were they gonna use against so-and-so? And who was the actual killer? Here's why I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This book, like I keep saying, is kind of like a mystery. Like, we're getting like whodunit vibes. But at the same time, this book is trying to give you a whole bunch of lore on this world, on this part of the multiverse. I don't know. I just think this book, I hear this a lot, is very overwhelming. Because think about it. Like, this is 800 pages. Think about your classic mystery. So a book being almost double a normal murder mystery and having it be primarily a murder mystery is hard because you're introducing a whole new world and then throwing on this aspect. So I just thought this book was very overwhelming. Like, you need to take notes type of overwhelming at times. I don't know, I thought it was good. I'm currently reading the second book, so like, obviously it's all right if I'm reading the second book, but I'm just hoping the second book is better because these books are so highly praised and anticipated due to the fact that they supposedly bring in characters from the other 2 series. Like, you can't just have it because they're bringing in other characters we enjoy from other series be the reason why people are purchasing these. My opinion, do what you will with it. But yeah, 2 out of 5 stars. I thought it was all right. I'm done rambling about it. With the series being so hyped up and everyone being so excited for this new book, I expected a lot more, but that was probably my fault. I like to go into books not expecting anything, and here I am. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this basically Sarah J. Maas video. Next month, of course, you will see the second Crescent City, the third Crescent City, and then my goal for the month is to be a romance-focused month because we're going into February. Plus, it's a short month, so romances are, you know, shorter books, so it's easier to finish a bunch in a month. So we will have cute romances, we will have dark romances, so be on the lookout for that video at the end of February. All the romances I read in February, of course, plus Crescent City 2 and Crescent City 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.